Okay. Alright. Here I am, quiet at night. What if, what if they really wanted to, if they really wanted to kill off a bloodline? Or, man, I've been, like, really reading, okay? Really reading. Especially after, and I don't even mean to bring this up or anything, but seeing Prudently in Cindy's live stream, where Cindy actually did like point me in some directions of things that I didn't know, resources and stuff. So I actually appreciate her doing some legwork for me because it does get overwhelming. You know, it really is overwhelming. It's just appointment after appointment lately, and whatever. So Prudently goes in there, excuse me, and says, "Okay, I'll say it. Oh, of course you will. Of course you fucking will." That she thinks I'm possessed by demons and need an exorcism. And which then gets, some of the people in the chat going, yeah, which is fucked up. I mean, Prudently, I'm going through something in my life right now. I really don't need people going around slandering me and saying things and partaking in things like that. I'd appreciate it if you could just focus on your shit. I mean, I'm not possessed by demons, unless you want to consider cancer a demon. I guess maybe could be. But to say that poor girl and that I'm meant, you say it all the time now. Now instead of no integrity, now I'm mentally unwell. You need to stop. Girl. And other people who say, "Oh, I don't condone people bashing people." Yes, you do. Like I'm even kicking myself for certain things that were given to me by a certain person. And then, and I'll tell you why. I'll tell you a little story. I had received some things from some person that were, whatever, right? And, but then I saw the same person when somebody in the community had found like a pink stone and they said, oh, maybe it's like a lucky star, whatever, you know what I mean? Maybe it's a sign or whatever, right? Something like that. Maybe it's lucky. I don't know. Same person who sent me things that could be like indicative of something to put, if somebody's sick, like put their faith into. She was telling them, no, 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 objects don't represent, you can't have faith in an object. You have to have faith in God. But on the flip side, they were getting things blessed for me to have faith in those objects. And I kick myself now. Isn't that terrible? I don't know if that's what they went into that particular, what I thought was such a kind gesture at first, that now, a month later, seeing things as they are, and I think, fuck, man. They knew that something blessed wasn't going to take the place of faith. I shouldn't have been putting my faith into. Like they didn't even believe that themselves, and then pretty much blatantly are like saying, I just don't want to partake. I get it. Well, I'm late. Sometimes I go on late. I get that. Sometimes I go on during the day as well, though. And listen, it's no big deal, lady. It really isn't. The only big deal is I kicked myself after reading your comment to somebody about that pink stone. I was like sick. Still am. Mm. If you don't find any kind of problem with somebody saying that I'm possessed by a demon and need an exorcism, and then next thing you're all like, "Hi, prudently," and she says something about my mental health, and you put prayer in. What the fuck? Like, fuck. I'm so mad at myself. I am so mad at myself. But anyway, that's you. I forgive you. That way, when I get to heaven, God will forgive me for the things that I've done. Maybe I don't even forgive myself for things I've done, and like wearing that, or whatever. Like, because obviously, when you told somebody else, no, you can't put your faith in objects, then it was like, yeesh. Then why have, you know, this particular object blessed? Like, yeesh. And then where lately something has like shown is like where that touched directly. And it's like, well, whatever you want to say. Oh, she's demonic. She needs an exorcism. Oh, she's, got mental health. Absolutely, I do not. I don't. Mm-mm. No, just a regular person with cancer, fighting everyday battles like everybody else, bills, this, that, and the other thing. Getting older. You know what I mean? Yeah, I don't need mental health. And I don't, well, I do need mental health. We all need mental good health, right? But gee, am I pissed that people were in a live stream where it was actually like made to mock me? Gee, did I put some community posts, which I have every right to, because I'm a fucking adult and it's my community page? Why are you going to call me mentally ill, but then in the next breath, brilliantly, say, I'm irrelevant and you don't watch it? What you said. You need to shut up, Prue. You do. Hopefully, when people rewatch this, they can answer some of my questions that I'm going to have. Uh, I'm sorry. Okay. Here's something else that's really kind of baffling to me. Prudently, when she's doing her, her her lectures, um, was talking about people with alcohol, and then she goes, "Oh, well, blah blah blah." Well, here's the thing. about alcoholics. They're not getting the kingdom of God, right? Okay. Here's the thing. I feel like there was a lot of them maybe pointing the finger going, he's the son of God. No, he's the son of God. No, he's the son of God. Just to like a lot of people who were trying to go around and be Jewish. Okay? He did it. He did it. Some of them were probably maybe herbalists that could fix afflictions and stuff. And, since bloodletting and leeches weren't working, you know what I mean? Then, but here's the thing, too. We all know where a lot of the, you know, there's a lot of religions out there, okay? There's a lot of religions out there. There really is. There's a certain one called, and I never know if I'm saying it right, Baal, Baal, Baal. It's spelled Baal, okay? I think that's still a religion, isn't it? I think that people still practice that. See, every time I read the Bible, sometimes, like, even when I'm reading the Bible, I gotta go and, like, I'll go and research what was going on during that time in history. Like, hey, maybe I only got, like, turns out, there was a lot of people all over the world. Like, these weren't, like, the first people going on and this. That's not what was going on. There was a lot of people in the world, all over. Britain, Germany, probably even in America too, but I don't know. We seem to be the one, like, that we're supposedly, like, I don't think we're new. I don't think any land is new. I just really don't. But it was like this whole big thing of they needed to conquer this. But you got the Holy Roman Empire, and they're calling themselves holy. All right, like, come on now. So, all right, this is all right, like BC. I think. Let me make sure. I should have fucking labeled them. That was kind of stupid of me. Like, okay, is it the Celts? The Celtics? Right? The Celtics. Even, Dover Castle, like, 1066 is when they were. But the thing is I actually had found, hopefully I could ever find it again. it was actually written by, somebody in the church, not the church, I'm sorry, in the castle. That's what they would do specifically. They would write, you know, uh, writings for the queen, or so they could, and that's so it was the history of Dover Castle. It was really amazing because these Romans, man, I wonder if that's why, like, their name, Rome, like roaming, they're roaming. I mean, they fucking were definitely roaming. Like, uh, these were the 100s, okay? I want to feel like they're, I can't remember if they're BC or AD. I'm sorry, you guys. So sorry. I feel like they're the BCs, but they could be the ADs. I'm so sorry. Damn, man. See, I really feel like I gotta look now, but it will kick me out. But nobody's talking anyway, so I'll be right back. I'll be right back. Hi, I'm back. So it's 100 within the 100s BC. Okay? So the reason why I wanted to look is because I wanted to know what was going on during these times, like right before. Look, we'll go to that. Okay? I can't keep changing my subject. All right. So 100 BC. Now remember, I think they counted up. Did they count up or counted down? They counted down, right? Yep, because it was like 1 million BC, and they counted down. They counted down before. Isn't that weird? What are they counting up to now? Like, isn't that weird that they knew they were counting down to something? Because there's like 4 million BC and stuff, and then they reset it. Like, that's fucking weird to me. You want to know what's another weird thing to me? Is if it's your soul, right? If it's your soul that you got to worry about, how come his whole body was gone? I'm just curious. That sounds like, grave robbery. I'm just saying, my opinion. So, in 100, in the 100s, okay, South Germany was occupied by West German Teuton. TEUTON, like 2 tons. 2 tons. 193 BC. According to Levi, whatever, Livy, the boy, okay, capital BOII, fought well, but were defeated by the Romans. Now, isn't that crazy? These are like people, civilization, place, things that we never heard of because Rome went around being holier than thou. Ain't that some shit? Ain't that some shit? Along with the Po River. The Po River. That's like something like you would think is in a, like somewhere that would be Asian. In my opinion. 14,000 dead. 1,092 captured alive with 721 horses, 3 chieftains, 212 standards, I don't know what that means, and 63 wagons. So definitely, if you're going to call something an empire, right? I think Rome could possibly have been one of the first civilizations. Because it seems to me they had a lot of people fighting for them, and they would just come up like out of nowhere. Obviously, that sounds like a kind of it's got 15,000 people there, 63 wagon. Yeah, okay, so a year later, a BOII, chieftain, surrendered to a Roman consul, Titus Quintius Flaminius, who had him and his family ritually slaughtered as entertainment for his boyfriend. Okay, so that's history right there, right? So when people sit there and they say, right there, that's like a 2-for-1 right there, right? I mean, like they're killing somebody, and according to some people, the fact that it was, for their boyfriend would be also a sin. Who knows? They might even focus more on that than what they did, right? They might. Isn't that disgusting? They might. But the bottom line is, back then, I do think a lot of people suffered from a lot of, who knows, man. A lot of shit. Like, when I was reading about Caligula, his first, I don't know, like 6 months or something, he really did a lot of things, right? Good things. Good things. He made certain, he goes, no, I'm going to pay all those, that they were supposed to get a pay raise or something. He said, pay them. He did quite a bit. He fed people. Then something happened, and he, now they call him mad. But I feel like they probably were practicing lobotomy quite a bit back then, or who knows? They could have been poisoning him. There was a lot of things. So, in 191 BC, Romans defeat Cilician. Now, let's not forget that Titus guy is Roman as well. So it's looking to me that Rome had, you know, been moving across the world. Everybody wants to blame it all on Britain, but I'm saying, like, when I go back through history, it's looking like it was Rome. Okay? For replay watchers, I hope you don't find this boring. Let me just say, I would love to be a history professor. I just love history, but anyway. And I can't, be reading the Bible and not knowing what was going on around them, because I think a lot of people have this theory that that's written by the only people living then. But it wasn't. There was a whole big wide world going on. 191 BC, Romans defeat Cilician king Antiochus, whatever, the third, at Thermopylae, whatever, beginning Roman world domination. Okay? 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 Yeah. He who has the most gold wins, maybe, huh? Wow. 189 BC. Oh, wait a minute. I missed one. Sorry. The Battle of Magnesia was a major Roman victory against Galatian Celts in alliance with Greek Antiochus III of Syria. 189 BC. Good luck with me trying to pronounce this stuff. And I think it's because it's Celtic, like, and they don't, I mean, what's the other one there that has the, like, I don't know, Galatian? Is it Gaelic? Yeah, Gaelic. I bet you that's what it means when they say Galatian. Yes, Gaelic. That's what it is when they're saying Galatian. Okay. Alrighty. That explains why I can't pronounce this at all, man. And that's some shit, though. Ain't that some shit? Wonder what would lead them into such fights with the Celtics. Because they really were going through a lot. Am I boring you guys? I don't know. I don't care. I don't care. Just kidding. To me, I'm just doing this so that, I don't know. I feel like what a waste all that studying I do. I've got to share it with people that want to hear it. Because I have to look at everything like that's going on. Even though, but the thing is this, I'll never know. It's too much history. There's loads. Because all this time, I think a lot of people don't realize there was a lot of people back then. Just because it's like BC doesn't mean they were like cavemen. Serious. Some shit. Alright. So, Gnaeus Manilius Vulso was sent to Turkey to crush the Galatian Celts. Now that's so odd that the Celts were in Turkey. Is there a lot of sun there? They probably got sunburned. No offense, I'm just saying there's not a lot of sun in Scotland. Aren't they from Scotland? Am I wrong? I don't know. Ortegian, a These are things we never, like, if I was to sit there and type in, and believe me, I would, if, like somebody's grade depended on it or something, but to type in every single word and shit, but I would. Man, I should just be a career student. And you know what? This is just 100 years BC. So the Roman people, there was some shit going on. Earlier, like, what made me start looking, not that I don't usually do a lot of that anyway, um, like looking to see what was going on in history, you know, in correlation to something I'm reading in the Bible. You know how, like, at the beginning of it, it'll tell you when the manuscript or transcript, whatever it is, was written. So I have kind of made it a habit to do those kind of things. But the reason why initially that I did look was because, and it was Rome again. I mean, Rome was just going around fucking, like, like, people want to blame it on Britain and stuff, but it isn't. Britain was just trying to keep their head above water too. So even back in, so I should have screenshotted this century too for you guys, but 600 BC to 550 BC, it was just a lot of fighting, a lot of people fighting over religion and land, religion and land. So what really interested me in this, well, there's a lot of stuff that really interested me in this, but in the very first uh, Kings too in the Old Testament, right? At the top it says Moab rebelled against Israel after the death of Ahab. Now, from what I saw, Ahab was very cruel. A king Ahaziah fell down through a lattice in his upper chamber in Samaria and lay sick. He sent messengers saying, "Go ask." Now, this is what got me right here with number 13 in the room, too, right? We got 13 in the room. Right here got me. When I mentioned the religion before, Baal, they say, "Go ask Baalzebub," like Beelzebub, like another name for that's, the god of Philistine, Ekron, if I shall recover from this illness. Isn't that something? Ain't that something? For me, I don't know. I thought that was surprising. I should have looked that up too. Ekron. Silly me. Silly me. And a lot of the stories too, they're actually, like, in one of them they talk about two sisters, but One of them is Jerusalem, and I think one is Egypt or something. I'm not sure. I could be wrong. Could be wrong. But it's really like these people are just fighting and fighting and fighting, and but it doesn't. It just makes me wonder: are they talking about the whole land? It says, but the angel of the Lord said to Elijah the Tishbite, "Arise, go up to meet the messengers of the king in Samaria, and say to them, Is it because there is no God in Israel that you are going to inquire of Beelzebub, the god of Ekron? Therefore the Lord says, You, Ahaziah, shall not leave the bed on which you lie, but shall surely die." And Elijah departed. So was Elijah the Lord? Hi, Jesse. I know, but I wonder why they took the body in the first place. Like, you would have thought his soul would have just been gone from there. And then the more like I was reading, a lot of the accounts of seeing him, they didn't recognize him. But I remember that being some kind of a symbolic phrase too. If you don't recognize me or something. Like them trying to push this narrative on them. That Jesus and John the Baptist were cousins, or their mothers were, or something. I mean, I really feel like John the Baptist was, you know, there's something in us called the dive reflex. And it's like if somebody is a deep sea diver, what they do to train, or like a long distance, underwater swimmer, something like that, where they got to hold their breath underwater for long. To train for that, they hold their breath on land. And if you can focus on that underwater, you can hold your breath 2 times longer than you can on land underwater, right? But you have to not panic. And the panic, though, is the will to live. The will to live is the panic. Like you can control the panic in a situation where are it's a controlled I forget what I'm trying to you know what I mean, like you're trying to swim underwater for a long time. But if somebody's holding you underwater, suddenly you realize you don't want to die. So you're like pushing up for breath. And when you get that breath, you're reborn. That no matter if you were on your way to that river, Jordan or something, and you're feeling lost and in despair, feeling like I don't care if I live or die, and then suddenly this guy is holding you underwater, and you know involuntarily they're fighting for their life. I don't think that John the Baptist would be, drowning people on purpose, even if they wanted to drown. Like, I think he probably would say to them, do you trust me? Kind of thing. And maybe not say it so much, but they had to trust. But I think that the trust and the faith was that you're going to want to live. When you feel yourself pressing up against my hand, you're going to want to live. And you'll be reborn, because then you want to live. And you know that no matter how much sorrow you were in, it didn't matter. It didn't matter. And I feel like that's one of those things in the body that God, for lack of a different, maybe whatever, you know, title, word, I prefer God, that for two reasons, and probably more, but I think all mammals have the dive reflex. I do. That's just, it's, like a will to live, like all of a sudden, and you're like, oh shit, ooh. I know, yesterday I said, I don't even care if I live or die, but suddenly, you're drowning. You're like, holy shit, I want to live. So, I was reading about, I think it's called, is it mikveh or something? I'm probably wrong. But it's the Jewish baptism. It's just water. It's just water. And I find it odd that at the end of the day, washing our hands really did come in handy when it came to everything, correct? Washing our hands did. And that was one of the subject of contention that it seems, were they the Pharisees or the whatever, the high priests or whatever, that were watching Jesus and his disciples, his apostles, where they would not wash their hands. And he gave them a real long spiel about it. But that was one of their subjects of contention. They were like, not sure I'm understanding that. That's just, I thought that was really odd, Couple of things. But not that I don't believe that a good guy and many, 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 many good people have been persecuted. Even just like, not, they don't even have to be killed. I mean, seriously. I think a lot of good people, like the more I read about Jesus, right, it seemed like he was getting so frustrated. He was like, oh my God, when are you going to hear, Or it's, they said, oh, that's what he said to them. Now, he gave them this really long answer, okay? But this is what he said to them. It's not what you put into your body that's, what you're judged from. It's what comes out of your mouth. Now, that's not that bad of a thought. At the end of the day, we all know that's, not true. It is kind of sometimes what you put in your body could kill you. I mean, if it's a raw piece of meat, you might get salmonella, you know? Yeah, and that current church was Rome. And Rome was going around fucking killing people. Killing people. I really do appreciate you being here, Jesse. Shout out to you for being a member, too. I slack in that. You know why? Even in Sharon's live stream tonight, I noticed like she was playing my live stream like against terms of service too, in the way of against terms of service. It wasn't for commentary. It wasn't sped up. She wasn't pausing it. She was doing it on purpose that way. But then my live stream earlier was pretty good. Hi Kimberly 11. How you doing? Um, but she goes, "This is boring. We were just talking about Reuben's sandwiches. We were talking about corned beef and cabbage and Reuben's. This is boring," she said. I'm sure it was like, but we were having fun in there. You know, it's nice to see you, Kimberly. I hope you're doing well. But so anyway, to get back to corned beef and cabbage, I know, isn't it? You know, I have to buy two corned beef and cabbage whenever I'm cooking corned beef and cabbage, and a kielbasa on the side because I'm like, and I always think of whenever I think of fried cabbage, I think of Kimberly because I don't know. She said she made fried cabbage. I said, "What'd you eat?" She goes, "Fried cabbage." I'm like, "Just fried cabbage?" But I don't know. Fried cabbage just really sounds good too. Like, I've seen some of those, shorts or not even shorts, they're videos. I'll watch a video where they're cooking food every once in a while. I'll be like, why can't they come here and cook for me? It doesn't even like cross my mind. Like, I'm thinking, I'm going to do all that. Like, nah, I don't think so. Because you know why? Because then there's dishes after that. And I'm not big on dishes because I'll tell you why. Because this is why I use like paper, really. Because, really, I knew, see, and I like, there's like kapuska. It's a lazy man's something, right? But it's got egg noodles, fried cabbage, um, kielbasa. It's got all this stuff in it. It's good, not looking good. It is. Oh, bacon. Bacon's in it. Bacon is in it. It's like, come on now. That's like anything with bacon or anything with, except I don't like bacon wrapped pineapple. I don't care for when people fool people with hors d'oeuvres that have a toothpick in it and there's bacon around it. Because I feel like it's going to be bacon wrapped scallops, but not usually. Probably hasn't happened to me that much, but I'm not usually at many events. But I get really disappointed when it's pineapple and not a scallop. That's fucked up. Sneaking a fucking bacon wrapped pineapple on me. Ugh. Ugh. Meat and fruit, like for real. Actually, there is some, like, my friend's mother used to cook pork chops with onions and chopped up apples. And they were so good. Oh my god. It was so good. And gravy, of course. You know what, though? Elijah parted the sea. Actually, he parted the River Jordan and the seas. They were doing it all the time. All the time. I'm saying, like, alright, people be like, oh, she's crazy. She thinks, like, God smites people. But listen, it says, and Elijah answered, if I am a man of God, let fire come down from heaven and consume you and your 50. And the fire of God came down from heaven and consumed him and his 50. Now listen though, these people have armies of 50. I can only imagine. I wonder if every time they, you know, like they killed 14,000 in wherever that was, Boii or something, and, 191 BC. Okay? So Jesus wasn't it? Well, this is before Jesus, too, because this is like 550 BC, which that was all they were doing then, too. Trust. Trust. That is all they were doing then. So, he was sent to Turkey to crush the Galatian Celts. Ortagian, a Tolstoy chieftain, reunited what was left of the three Celt tribes. I know, right, Jesse? I don't like pineapple on pizza. I think I really only like pineapple after having Chinese food, like the hukila, and having a scorpion bowl and a poo-poo platter. Thank you, Jesse, too, by the way. Thank you to all of you wonderful, wonderful people. I forgive you all. No, sir, just kidding. You didn't do nothing to me, Jess. So, Tiberius Sempronius Gracchus. Now listen, here's the thing. This is 100 BC. Pretty sure there was written language before then, but what I'm saying is this. Were they really writing like this? And if they were, wouldn't you think they'd have given themselves shorter names? The apostles are all like Mark, Luke, Paul, right? And fucking these fuckers have like Tiberius, Sempronius, Gracchus offered the Iberian Celts enlistment into the Roman army. Not readily accepted. Uh-oh. Probably wasn't good for them. That's where it ended there, that sentence. Ain't that horrible? They just went around and they said, look, you can either fight for us or die. Pick one. Okay? It says, New Mantia Celts. Sorry. I'm from, Massachusetts. I think of the Celtics. I'm sorry. Enlistment into the Roman army. Oh, wait, that's the other one. Sorry. New Mantia Celts almost destroyed. Almost. I know, right? Hebrew people were like, yeah, we're not going to be that pretentious, okay? We invented the language. A 13-year-old boy at bar mitzvah still speaks a language that, like, a 13-year-old boy, anybody could read 3,000 or millions or whatever they have, scrolls. All right. All right, Jesse? Me and Jesse talked on the phone one time for 8 hours. Now, I know that's hard to believe. A long time ago, Jesse had a talking addiction. Leave her alone. Sharon tried to say I was mean to you. I was like, I was not mean to her. But I didn't listen further to whatever little clip she tried to narrate something to. I was like, shut up, lady. Lady, 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 lady. We did laugh for 8 hours, didn't we? My face was like hurting. We did. We laughed for like 8 hours. Honest to God. Yeah. We did. We did. If I can just laugh and laugh. And not at people. Jessie's just really funny. You guys just don't know her. She likes to be secret about her comedy skills. So, then, the Numantia Celts almost destroyed an advancing Roman army. Now, this is in 152 BC. This guy skips a lot of years in between, by the way. But, just, I doubt there was much peace. Leading to a treaty in 151, which was broken. Oh, thank you, Jesse. I like to think so. So just kidding. I do, though. Isn't that terrible? Stupid, I am. I have this crazy idea that I'm entertaining. I know, it's ridiculous. So, the following year, so they had 1 year of a treaty, and Rome could not adhere. It was broken the following year by a new Roman commander. Now, I would like to know what happened. I believe this Genius. I'm going to say it's Genius. That sounds more Roman-like, right? Genius, Manilius, Volso. I'd rather sit down, though. Can I be a sitting down comic? I don't understand the whole... I could stand up when I want to, but I would like probably like some kind of a chair, not a stool. Remember the Unknown comic? He had a paper bag over his head. I wish there were some unknown YouTubers. There is, but they're not even funny. So, it was broken the following year, probably after they killed the other guy, by the new Roman commander, Galba, whose brutality was criticized even by Rome. Ain't that some shit? They put him there a year later to break a treaty. Now, I'm going to have to do some more research on that one, because that's fucking disgusting, I'm sure. Not that I like disgusting stuff, I'm just saying. So then, in 149 BC, was the Third Punic War. It went on to 146. Once again, I'm going to give you one guess of who was involved. You guys think? Was it Rome? Was it Rome? No, really. Just say it. Prudently. You like to say you'll say it. I like that, though. Just, sit back and relax and enjoy the soothing sounds of SG and history. I know, right? Said he... Is this the one? In the Third Punic War, Rome destroys Carthage, killing 450,000 and enslaving 50,000. Now, I guarantee you they had to become soldiers. I guarantee you. The Celts under Varathos, this is in 145 BC. Oh, thank you. My relays, but I really don't. I've only been on for an hour. See, it was really Rome's fault. Why does everybody blame, like, why don't, I don't know, they blame everybody, but not Rome. Why? Why? Why is Rome not blamed? I want to know. What's going on here? It says, the Celts, the Celts, under Verathos, revenged on Galba, forcing his surrender. But a traitor, oh, replays, okay. Oh, that's funny. Murdered him in his sleep. Can you imagine that? They'd rather be taken over by Rome. Oh my God. And they murdered him in his sleep. Oh my God. In 140 BC, Rome takes Macedonia, Greece, Anatolia, Balearic Islands, and southern France. So imagine France was around. Where's their Bible? Why is there no, like, come on now? They must have had their scribes then that recorded history. I bet you they thought they were the only people on earth, but they weren't. Get this. Okay, wait, no. Rome then controls coast of Spain and Africa. And then right after that, it's the Venus de Milo era. Isn't that like a sculpture? In 140 BC, it was the Venus de Milo era. Now, what I found out about the Baal, Baal, I think, Baal, I could be saying it wrong, probably am. Religion was, they were a lot about, no, I'm talking about France. If France was, you know, something to be conquered by Rome in BC, right? And Macedonia, Greece, Africa, Spain. Right. Did you know there was a Venus de Milo era? Like, but this Baal religion does a lot with, like, astronomy. And the fact that there's a planet, named Venus kind of makes me think they were looking into astronomy and they had a god named Beelzebub. Strange to me. 136 BC. The Roman Mancinus surrendered with 20,000 troops to the Celts at Pallantia. Isn't it crazy that they were fighting the Celts, though? Aren't they from Scotland, like the Highlands? It's like the majority of their fights, right before, this is, 156 before. Now they counted down, so no, 136 BC. But they've been fighting with the Celts. I'm saying, like, constantly. Sad Bigfoot. Sad Bigfoot. I heard Sad Bigfoot. He must be under here somewhere. I don't know where, but I pressed Sad Bigfoot by accident. Strange, though, isn't it? I wonder what they had that Rome wanted so bad. But they were so it seems like determined to keep fighting, you know? So it says, Publius Cornelius. I told you guys, these Roman people, they like to use a lot of words, a lot of letters. Scipio was sent to Numantia to finish off the Celts. Yeah, right, Jesse? I wonder if they did and we just don't know it. To finish off the Celts surrounding the tribe and starving them by isolation. Ritogenes, I don't know, that's a person, I guess. Ritogenes, I don't know, led 400 to break the siege, but were captured and paraded. This is in 134 BC, and paraded in front of the town with their right hands severed. That's crazy. The Celts finally surrendered. 8,000 men, women, and children against 60,000 Romans. Wow. 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 Numantia was burnt. 50 Celtic leaders were taken to Rome for ceremonial sacrifice. The rest sold into slavery. Wow. They also said that the Mayans were totally, like, they disappeared, gone. And you know when they talk about, oh, they split a rock and water, yeah, they were, huh, Jesse? It makes you, like, really scared of the fact that, you know, the Vatican and all that shit, doesn't it? In my opinion, I'm just saying. Like, how cruel were they? You know? Like, wow. But a splitting of a rock could redirect water into a certain region, you know? And basically kill wherever the other, you know, the receiving end on that other side, you know? So, and somebody could say, look, see, now it's coming to you. I went up on this mountain instead of it going there. I mean, really, it happens. It happens still to this day where they redirect water, you know? Um, so now in 133 BC, Roman ally King Attalus III of Pergamum, now Turkey, died and leaves his kingdom to Rome. I know, right? Right, Jesse? They were just killing people. Like, wow, they just didn't care. And they went in there with, like, as crusaders and shit. Ain't that some shit? With a cross on them, like the Red Cross, too. Ain't that some shit? I've always had my suspicions about the Red Cross. I'm sorry. I just have. Is my opinion, you know? I'm a suspicious person. I do my research. So then Romans in 118. So now we got a big old jump from 133 BC to 118 BC. Romans expanded to Massilia, having defeated the South Salys Celts, as well as southern Gaul, Provence, Toulouse, and Narbonne. All these, like, civil, you know, places that we don't even see anything about them. They're just names in history now. Romanian Celts. This is in 109 BC. Romanian Celts and the Dacians made a treaty to try and stop the approaching Romans. Now that's smart. So they tried to, like, unite to defeat them. Smart there. I hope I took I don't know, it doesn't say what happens after that. It jumps to 106 BC and says Julius Caesar invades Britain. 106 BC, sorry, 100 BC is when Julius Caesar invaded Britain. And then when 100 BC, Chinese developed paper. So we also have China. So there was, when they wrote this book, they literally probably thought there were no other people. Just like the Indians when they saw like a ship coming over the horizon. And they were like, what is that? You know what I'm saying? But I'm sure they knew what the fuck it was because they had already made canoes and shit. They knew what it was. They know what a boat was. So the Chinese developed paper. And that probably was like a boom, you know? It skips then to 88 BC. Mithridates the Fifth, the Great of Pontus, invited 60 major, listen to my list, 60 major Celtic chieftains to dine and discuss. He relied on the Celtic tradition of no arms could be worn. Oh my God. Entering a feasting hall and slaughtered them all, save one, Deiotarus, son of Dumnorix of the Tolestabali. I don't even know. Wow. So in 80 BC, Alexandria becomes Roman territory. That's fucked up. That's like in Egypt. So they were fighting in Egypt. They were fighting all over. Oh my God. Holy, this is crazy. In 75 BC, Belgae Celts from between Seine and the Rhine in France. Wow. So the Celts were from, that was Gaul. That was what they would refer to as Gaul. Pressured from northern Germans and Romans from France and Mediterranean to leave their homelands and invade southeast Britain, creating sharp divide between themselves and residents. England remained non-Celtic and turned Roman. Wales and Scotland, run by Celts. In 71, Spartacus leads slave revolts against Romans. Romans take Seleucid Empire. Spartacus is slain in battle against Crassus. Wow. 63 BC. Roman general Pompey conquers Jerusalem. In 60 BC, Pompey takes Turkey, Syria, Phoenicia, or whatever, and Palestine. Now, that's crazy that they'll say Palestine was never mentioned in the Bible because obviously they were around. Interesting question, Jesse. And I wonder if they even really are they? I mean, the Vatican, aren't they like super rich? But interesting question. You don't have a second device, do you, that you could look it up? I know you're sleeping. Look at me trying to get you to be my research assistant. Hey, it's just for a second. Hey, you brought it up, lady. You brought it up, lady. Still in 60 BC, Senate refuses to recognize. Caesar, Pompey, and Marcus Crassus form political alliance. First triumvirate in 58 BC. Crassus dies in battle. Rome tries to divide Caesar and Pompey. Now that's crazy because I thought Caesar. Now I wonder if Caesar was a place. Thank you, Jesse. No, because they said Crassus. That's crazy. Caesar. Huh. You know, they had a really hard time trying to invade, the British Isles because of the seas there. So I even went back as far as 4,400,000 BC. Okay? I went that far back. It says Ardi, Ardi, lived in Ethiopia. Discovered in 1992, understood in 2009. This is like a summary of it, okay? Like I said, I could spend hours upon hours, you know, like I'd like to know what is Ardi. What is Ardi? ARDI, that's your next task, Jesse. In 4 million BC, first humans found in South Africa, or so they thought. Cynodictis resembled a modern dog, existed, and the Earth's magnetic fields are changing. How do they know that the Earth's magnetic fields were changing? Then they say in 3,200,000 BC, 3,200,000 BC. Get this. I need to know what this means. Lucy, Lucy, like Lucy, lived in Hadar Awash Valley in Ethiopia, discovered in 1974. Who is Lucy? Ah, so around probably like Spain coming back at them because in 1492 Columbus sailed the ocean blue. But you know what? That was also the Spanish Inquisition. So even though the Crusades were over, it became the Spanish Inquisition, and anybody who was Jewish had to fucking convert or leave on the night that Christopher Columbus left. Yeah, can you look that up though for me, Jesse? You're so fast at it. It says, listen to this, right? It says, in 3,200,000 BC, Lucy lived in Hadar Awash Valley in Ethiopia, discovered in 1974. Who is Lucy? Is that like people or a person? What does that even mean? I'm telling you though, here's the thing. And I'm thinking, I do think that, I mean, I don't know. I feel like, alright, a migration of people to Asia and Europe to, okay, so you know when, like, black people will go, we were the first human, we were the first ones, we were, right? Okay. Alright, so maybe you guys invaded, like, maybe you guys were the ones invading people. It says, first, really, it's like saying, like, from Africa right here, the glaciers, they lasted 40,000 to 68,000 years. You know what? Around that time, people could have been pale because, nah, really? Get out, Jesse. Really? And 3 million to a. But the thing is because pigment is what makes people dark. So if it was not sunny, I'm just saying, scientifically, tell me about it, Jesse. Talk to me. Talk to me. Wow, when they first made fires, and it's when they started killing for food. Ain't that some shit? 1 million BC. Wait, 1,500,000 BC. First fire and killing for food. But look at this, 1,360,000. Well, listen though. Here's the thing: they had an ice age. Really, Jesse? That's so interesting. It's a real person. Why would they say Lucy lived in Hadar, a wash valley in Ethiopia? Lucy in the sky with diamonds. Really? It's about her? That's crazy. I wonder if in an ice age, like, do you just freeze, like, so that when you thaw out wherever you are, you're alive? People spread across. I'm saying Neanderthals, those are giants. It says in 90,000 BC, humans and Neanderthals coexisted. 60,000 BC, first religion existed. Wonder what that was. 50,000 BC, humans migrated to Australia from Indonesia islands. Get the hell out of this. 48,000 BC, charcoal campfires in Brazil. 45,000 BC, a flute made from bear bone found in Slovenia. 40,000 BC, blades of stone and Homo sapiens found in South Africa. Objects of personal adornment existed. 35,000 BC, Neanderthals dying out. Cro-Magnon man found in West France. People throughout Asia and Australia. Wow, this is crazy. First engraving, Venus of Weldendorf, Austria. 29,000 BC. Egypt's used mummification found in the King Den tomb. 26,000 BC. Ivory beads and buttons existed. 23,000 BC. Sandia Cave provided shelter for humans in New Mexico. 20,000 BC. Wolf's jaw bone found. Czechoslovakia in 1937. Had 55 notches in groups of people from Siberia crossing the Bering Bridge into the Americas. Bows and arrows, spear throwing, blades are common. 17,000 BC, settlers in Pennsylvania and Virginia. 16,000 BC, most of Europe covered in ice, half a mile thick. Wow. Wow, that's incredible. Unbelievable. Okay, so this is still BC. She was both betrothed to a pagan but wanted to serve Christ. She was good. No, but that's interesting as heck, huh? She wouldn't burn? No, because this one said it was 3,500,000 BC. Rome was fucking doing all kinds of shit. But still, that is fucking interesting. She wouldn't burn. So then what did they do to her? Really? It's so weird, like, says wanting return. So this is like, okay, this is BC, I think, still, okay? So we're in, I'm gonna read it. I think it says 41, but I really can't tell. Wanting return of a Roman public, Caesar's adopted son, Octavian IV, second triumvirate, with Mark Antony and Marcus Lepidus. Oh, that must be Maxine's brother. It was 3 million years BC, like 3,500,000 BC or something. I find it hard to believe Mark Antony killed himself. They must have had to. It was probably like, you either kill yourself or we kill you. You know? I think that they would get reincarnated into other prophets, kind of sometimes, I think. I could be wrong, but probably wrong. Damn, man, these fuckers were fighting all the time, these Roman people. The Library of Alexandria ceases to exist. What a shame. That's such a shame. Oh, that's why they murdered Caesar, because he wanted to be the only one. God, all they ever do is fight. Then they think that maybe that's like the birth year of Jesus. 14 BC, April 17th. They said Jupiter was in rare alignment with the constellation Aries, marking an important date for the ancient astrologers, possibly the birth year of Jesus. In 4 BC, Herod the Great died. His funeral was attended by Celtic bodyguards. Strange. On the 3rd BC, many astrological events occur that might have been the Star of Bethlehem. Jupiter and Venus were aligned together, making an extremely bright star, possibly the Star of Bethlehem. You know, very odd that, first of all, like, they were studying astrology that much. So crazy. Listen how mean they were, though, in the Bible, right? Listen. Back to Kings 2, right? Just saying, these people were like so fighting all of them across the world. So, and this is Elijah, okay? But not Elijah with a J. Kind of looks like Elisha. Like, could be a girl, but maybe not. I'm saying. The chariot of fire. I mean, a chariot of fire. Seriously. Oh, you can't find anything on it? That's okay. I'm glad you're back anyway. I was lonely without you. Seriously, true story. See, they said a chariot of fire parted them, and he went up in a whirlwind to heaven. Now, that doesn't sound, I mean, like he could have been hit by a chariot of fire. Like maybe there were chariots of fire. Maybe people were going around like causing fires with chariots, you know? Oh, this is the Bible. It's so brutal. Some of it. Not all of it, but a lot of it. I mean, like, whoa, you know? Says, so he died, this guy, okay? Now the rest of the acts of are not written in the book, Chronicles of the Kings of Israel. When the Lord was about to take Elijah with a J up to heaven by a whirlwind, Elijah and Elisha were going from Gilgal, and Elijah with a J said, and Elisha, tarry here, I pray you, for the Lord has sent me to Bethel. But Elisha, whatever, replied, as the Lord lives, and as your soul lives, I will not leave you. So they went down to Bethel. The prophet's sons, who were at Bethel, came to Elisha and said, Do you know that the Lord will take your master away from you today? He said, Yes, I know it. Hold your peace. Elijah said to him, Elisha, tarry here. I pray you, for the Lord has sent me to Jericho. But he said, As the Lord lives, and as your soul lives, I will not leave you. So they came to Jericho. Okay, so here's the thing. What was supernatural? The chariot of fire? It's funny that you say that, because a mantle, okay, a mantle. He said he rolled up his mantle, took his mantle and rolled it up. Is a mantle like a, no, Elijah, the one with the J, was taken to heaven. So it says, like, basically they keep, I won't leave you, and the two went on. 50 men of the sons of the prophets also went and stood to watch, nice, afar off, and the two of them stood by the Jordan. And Elijah, with a J, took his mantle and rolled it up and struck the waters, and they divided this way and that, so that the two of them went over on dry ground. What do you think could have made that? Like, isn't that crazy? And then he says, and when they had gone over, Elijah, with a J, said to Elisha, Ask what I shall do for you before I am taken from you. And Elisha said, I pray you, let a double portion of your spirit be upon me. He said, You have asked a hard thing. However, if you see me when I am taken from you, it shall be so for you. But if not, it shall not be so. Huh. Interesting. It was his mantle, and he rolled it up and struck it. That's weird, isn't it? That's really weird. And as they went on and talked, behold, a chariot of fire and horses of fire parted the two of them, and Elijah went up by a whirlwind into heaven. And Elisha saw it, and he cried, my father, the chariot of Israel and its horsemen. And he saw him no more, and he took hold of his own clothes and tore them in two pieces. He took up also the mantle of Elijah and fell from him, that fell from him, and went back and stood by the bank of the Jordan. And he took the mantle that fell from Elijah and struck the waters and said, Where is the Lord, the God of Elijah? And when he had struck the waters, they parted this way and that, and Elisha went over. When the sons of the prophets who were watching at Jericho saw him, they said, The spirit of Elijah rests on Elisha, and they came to meet him and bowed themselves to the ground before him. Seems so strange, doesn't it? Yeah, it does seem strange. And then, this is so weird. Are Jewish people not supposed to shave their head? I mean, Jewish men back then. I don't think they were, right? I really don't think they were. And I don't see how putting salt into the fountain, I mean, maybe if that would kill something that was pot, like, I think a lot of them knew. I feel like, okay, but here's what I think, okay? I think if there was a chariot going, right, and say that was the way of transportation back then, right? Say that was the way of transportation back then. And then it got set on fire or something happened, like fire happened. So now there's this chariot on fire, the horses are on fire. Maybe it was done on purpose, who knows? You know, I mean, but it's just so, when at the same time we're not seeing these things in the history of like China or France and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like Rome was already, like where's their miracles? Like God must have been everywhere. He couldn't have just been of the Jews. Like they all must have some stories, right? right, in the Bible, but could it be chosen ones to be slaughtered? Like, when I was reading, it said, like, it was pretty gross. Like, it was like, put back here, but, like, when they slaughtered him, that they didn't have to do any. They said they didn't do any, like, you know what I mean? That's what I'm wondering, if they were trying to get rid of, like, descendants. Somebody put, like, who's Callan? Is that the one who somebody put a comment in my video saying somebody convinced the Jews that it was better for one to die than all of them? Oh, Cain, you said. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought there was an L there. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. My cheater glasses are cheating on me, I guess. They're not seeing right. Um, that's fucked up. Like, what the fuck? It says, this is the page I'm on. Ain't that something? That is so fucked up. I'm on the exact page. I'm on the exact page. Oh my god, and I didn't even like look it up. Not that I wouldn't have. I mean, I was very interested in it, but I kept reading all kinds of stuff, but it's the exact one. Holy moly olies. It's John. Is that the one like they said it was? It's John, and they said, and they brought him first to Annas, for he was the father-in-law of Caiaphas, who was the high priest that year. It was Caiaphas who had counseled the Jews that it was expedient and for their welfare that one man should die for, instead of, in behalf of it, the people. Wow. And they were lecturing me, like, using, Peter as their fucking example, but it's like Peter, like, he was, he dogged him. He dogged Jesus. Dang, man. Poor Jesus. Guilty of what? No, but this is some shit right here. Because they said to me, they go, it was Caiaphas who had counseled the Jews that it was expedient for their welfare that one man should die. So why would she quote that to me? Like, what was she trying to say to me? That I should die for many? Like, what did that mean? And then she said that, Peter was really, well, yeah, I know, but we weren't standing right next to him. Like, but the thing is to use this guy as the example was kind of crazy because Jesus, like, well, yeah, he cut off the ear of that guy, but he says, but that was like the guy's servant, you know? It was the guy's servant, and he says, Peter was there, Simon Peter, and he entered along with Jesus into the court of the palace of the high priest. Now, Simon Peter and another, okay, now Simon Peter and another disciple were following Jesus, and that disciple was known in the high priest, to the high priest. Okay, so wait a minute here. So there was another disciple. Yeah, he denied him 3 times. But there was another disciple that was known that they're not saying who. Why do they just refer to the one as the other disciple? Wow. I find it odd that when the chief priest saw him and cried out, "Crucify him, crucify him," Pilate said, "Take him yourselves and crucify him, for I find no crime in him." The Jews answered him, "We have a law, and according to that law he should die, because he has claimed and made himself out to be the Son of God." Odd that Jesus was not answering these people. Like, he was always speaking, like, quite a bit, but then, oh no, he could, oh wait, here it says, "You would not have any power or authority whatsoever over me if it were not given you from above. For this reason, the sin and guilt of the one who delivered me over to you is greater." Upon this, Pilate was anxious to release him, but the Jews kept shrieking. That's so weird. Okay. don't know. This story is, and here's Caesar again. I mean, Caesar, he was everywhere. Like, these Romans were everywhere, just demolishing places, demolishing them. That's terrible. They took his garments and fucking sold them off in lots and shit. They were fucking hitting him and stuff. That's terrible. My God. Who was this Calaphas guy? What the fuck? He was for what? 1 year? 1 year? They said the high priest is that year. That year. Like, what? Yeah, that's it. Blood and water. That's weird that that would come out. I no. I'm sad to hear that. So crazy. The stone had been lifted out of the groove. So there was like even a groove. What does he say? Does he talk to you still, Jesse? He shouldn't say any time, though. See, they keep saying the other disciple. That is so crazy. Is he like, but I'm not talking about, that's so crazy. I was just reading about, like, what do you think he would have water in his lungs for? Like, isn't that like pneumonia or something? Like they said when they pierced him, water and blood came out. So is he lucid, Jesse? Your father? I know, I'm like all over the place there. Because that's awesome if he's so lucid. I mean, I would keep him, like, I mean. You know what I think? Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me? I'm here. You know what I think? I think that they had tunnels and stuff back then, and that when they started like building these burial tombs, I mean, a lot of the pyramids and the tombs of, kings and stuff, the pharaohs, whatever, that get buried with the gold, when they got in there, they were gone, right? Yeah. Isn't that weird, too? The catacombs, like, those were all placed in those tombs. So, I mean, who ran those? Not ran them, but was that a job back then? Working in the catacombs, putting those bodies in there? Was that a job? You should look it up, Jesse. Seriously, could you imagine that? And I wonder if they even kept track of, like, who was where, and it seems to me like it's possibly a better idea than, I don't know. I mean, they kept a lot of people there. Thank you, Jesse. Yeah, like the people work there. Do they keep records? It's so weird to me that they seem so intricate and yet so occupied. Like, what the fuck? That's a lot of dead people. Like, maybe we do have something like that. You know what? Maybe we do have catacombs that we don't know about. It's pretty weird that, why would they call it the place of the skull? Golgotha. I wonder if they, like, I don't know, did it on purpose. You know what? That would be the ultimate way, really. She didn't recognize Jesus. And Jesus said to her, "Woman, why are you crying? For whom are you looking?" Supposing that it was the gardener. She replied, "Sir, if you carried him away from here, tell me, where have you put him, and I will take him away." Jesus said to her, "Mary." Turning around, she said to him in Hebrew, Rabron, Rabbon, which means teacher or master, like rabbi, I guess. Jesus said to her, "Do not cling to me, do not hold me, for I have not yet ascended to the Father. But go to my brethren and tell them, I am ascending to my Father and your Father, and to my God and your God." Away came Mary Magdalene, bringing the disciples word that she had seen the Lord, and that he had said these things to her. Then on that same first day of the week, when it was evening, though the disciples were behind closed doors for fear of the Jews. Wow. Why? Why? Really? The catacomb? Strange. Seems like not like a quarry. It seems like a tunnels, right? Seems like it was actually 4 tunnels. Weird. Okay, so he goes to the disciples, and Jesus came and stood among them and said, "Peace to you." Really? And I bet they got killed in there. Wow, because they were Jews, really. Wow. But even if they weren't Jews, really, it's terrible. So saying, he showed them his hands and his side. And when the disciples saw the Lord, they were filled with joy. Then Jesus said to them again, "Peace to you. Just as the Father has sent me forth, so I am sending you." And having said this, he breathed on them and said to them, "Receive the Holy Spirit." Now, having received the Holy Spirit and being led and directed by him, if you forgive the sins of anyone, they are forgiven. If you retain the sins of anyone, they are retained. But Thomas, one of the 12, called the twin, was not with them when Jesus came. Really? So the other disciples kept telling him, "We have seen the Lord." But he said to them, "Unless I see in his hands the marks made by the nails, and put my finger into the nail prints, and put my hand into his side, I will never believe it." 8 days later, his disciples were again in the house, and Thomas was with them. Jesus came, though they were behind closed doors, and stood among them and said, "Peace to you." Then he said to Thomas, "Reach out your finger here and see my hands, and put your hand and place it in my side. Do not be faithless and incredulous, but stop your unbelief and believe." I don't know. I feel like maybe some of his disciples felt bad. Like, why would they be hiding from the Jews? That's so crazy. See, they said Jesus came to the beach and stood there. However, the disciples did not know that it was Jesus. So Jesus said to them, boys, children, you do not have any meat, fish, do you? Have you caught anything to eat along with your bread? They answered him, no. And he said to them, cast the net on the right side of the boat, and you will find some. So they cast the net, and now they were not able to haul it in for such a catch. Then the disciple whom Jesus loved said to Peter, it is the Lord, Simon Peter. Who's the disciple that Jesus loved? I don't know. Here he is like fishing and cooking and stuff. So then the disciple whom Jesus loved said to Peter, it is the Lord. So can't be Peter. He's saying it to him. He says, the Lord put on his upper garment, his fisherman's coat, his outer tunic, for he was stripped for work, and sprang into the sea. Like, come on now. Full of large fish, so many of them, the net was not torn. Jesus said to them, come and have breakfast. But none of the disciples ventured or dared to ask him, who are you? Because they knew that it was the Lord. Oh, come on. They already said they didn't recognize him. I'm missing loyalty. They already said they didn't recognize him. Maybe the guy is just a good fisherman. Like, what? Oh, John was. Interesting. Now they do? Well, yeah, because I assure you, most solemnly I tell you, when you were young, you girded yourself, put on your own belt, and you walked about wherever you pleased to go. But it sounds like Peter is really, he doesn't like John. He said to him the third time, Simon, son of John, do you love me with a deep, instinctive, personal affection for me, as for a close friend? Peter was grieved, was saddened, and hurt that he should ask him the third time, do you love me? And and he said to him, Lord, you know everything. You know that I love you, that I have a deep, instinctive, personal affection for you as a close friend. Jesus said to him, feed my sheep. So Peter was I wonder if it was John the Baptist. Like, I mean, like, come on, like, who really would have been able to recognize? And if you did say, yep, that's him, right? Then they wouldn't be going after them again, right? If they were like, oh, here, his head's on a platter, is that him? Yep, that's him. Maybe that's why they always had, beards and stuff, so they wouldn't be that recognizable amongst, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, he was doubting Jesus or something, from what I read. He's the one he said, Satan, get thee behind me. He wanted to be like, he thought that Jesus was a stumbling block or something. That's what I read. Just saying, I didn't write it. I don't know. I'm just saying. Yeah, right. Like, I don't know. I think these were like, you know, which the Father has appointed by his own choice and authority. I think that it was like, um, they're replacing the baptizing with water and all that shit. I'm just saying. Whatever, you guys. Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, because he wanted to be the guy. He wanted to be the guy. That's what it seems like to me. That he wanted to be the cock of the walk. Isn't that what it's called? Like underneath the Vatican or whatever? St. Peter. I don't know. Is it? Is it where St. Peter is buried or something? I'm not sure. I really don't know. I feel like charismatic like a fox. Just kidding. They never talk about pterodactyls and shit. Pterodactyl. Anyway, I appreciate you, Jesse. Thank you for hanging with me. Thank you for being a member, and I hope replay watchers enjoy the show. The SG and Jesse show. And missing appreciate you guys. Have a great day. Peace, love, and tacos. Sleep well if you go to sleep. Bye bye. Good night.